Hey everyone, and welcome back to another Etheria Restart video. So in today's video, guys, I've got three teams for you on each of the threshold dungeons prior to this 2x weekend. I've got an SR only team on Terramaton and Doki Doki. I also have like a quote unquote SR team for Aurora. I do use Ling Luo, but she's a free SSR. Everyone has her. So I'm considering that SR only, but if you want to debate that, sure, you're right. It's not SR only, but we'll say free to play. And if you say that, people are like, oh, there's so many lattices. So no winning. And then I have a safe team for each individual dungeon, and then I got a speed team. So without further ado, let's go into Terramaton first. I was actually pretty pleased with this video. I was happy with it. So the very first team that we are utilizing is this one. So we've got Mizuki Mikado. She's our stripper. So she's going to be in Codex of Magic, and she's going to be towards the top of the turn order. She doesn't need to be at the very top. She just needs to be faster than Fangus, because Fangus is our main DPS. He's going to be putting on the dots, and he's also putting the speed down on the right head. We have Sonya in there to do the cleansing because the boss puts up heal block and defense down. Kachi the guard for immunity and defense up. Valerian for the shielding and also HP rebalance whenever the debuff lands. So yeah, that's the team. So Valerian is just in a bunch of like HP percentage gear with Wellspring. It's all outstanding gear, which is pretty funny. And she's on a black flag. Doesn't really matter, in all honesty, as long as she's got high HP and her skill 3 is fully leveled up. Fangus is on Golden Lion. So they rebuffed Golden Lion. He's got HP percentage over here. He's got Dauntless. You just want him tanky and to survive. He is on Battle Will for those extra attacks to possibly land the DOT. So all of his skills are mapped out. And then we're running like HP bonus, effect accuracy, effect accuracy. So he's got some time weave in there just for the effect accuracy, and that's pretty much it. This doesn't really need to be there. This can be any HP bonus, doesn't matter. I just had it on here for a little bit more damage for fun, but yeah, that's that. The Mizuki Mikado doesn't have any skills in her. She's just level 60, but after this 2x, she's going to be leveled up. This Swift Raid, again, it doesn't necessarily need to be there. As long as you're finding like speed substat rolls, that's the important thing. And then you need effect accuracy. So she's got defense, effect accuracy, and effect accuracy. So she's at 142. That's necessarily not high enough, but that's why we have Codex and Magic up, just in case she has the ability to dispel again. Start landing the dots from the Fangus quick enough. Sonya is in HP with Fortissimo. It's got the HP and the swift dash there on the speed. She's right around 200, and she's got almost everything fully skilled up. She's a perfect SR to skill up, guys. She's great everywhere in game and great in PvP. So just HP across the board. And then you got Kachi the guard above that 183 percentage mark. He's wearing the Artisan. This is pretty important just to help save Fangus or whoever is in here getting a lot of damage sometimes. He does have the turn meter pushback and speed down, which is also good. And yeah, he's rocking HP and then effect accuracy, and then he's just looking for effect accuracy substat rolls on the side. All right. Now, further ado, let's show the team. Here you go. SRs only. So, this is actually a pretty quick team too. I'd say it's going to be a little bit longer if the Mizuki does not end up landing the Dispel. So, more lattices into her makes that way more efficient. But I will say that the strip from her is way more important on the right side head than anything. Yeah, so I was pretty happy with this run. The Aurora and Doki teams are certainly a lot longer. Um, Where this one, because you have Fangus as the DOT and bringing the speed down, like he's just got the perfect kit to kind of fill that role. And you see there, the battle will proc actually happened. So that's kind of cool. And with the buff to Golden Lion, he ramps up his effect accuracy a lot quicker, which is really cool. So, you know, if anyone is wondering, there's tons of replacements for these teams from an SR perspective. For Sonya, you can put in Mia. Mia is amazing. You'll see her on the next team. For stripping, you have Heinrich, you have Holden. For DPS, Didding, Yelly, uh, Chloros, Leon, like literally everybody. Once you have that core like Valerian Kachi with X healer, this dungeon is somewhat like trivial. It might not be fast, it might not be efficient, but it gets the job done. Um, I think the stripping is usually the hardest thing to find. If you have the Heinrich, that's really awesome. Most people don't, but Mizuki here is perfectly serviceable even without any lattices in her. Just got to build her as a stripper and not as like a bruiser. So yeah, you're just stacking up all the DOTs. I've shown similar teams like this in the past, but I wanted to just do a full SSR just in case people are trying to sneak into Inferno. I've mentioned multiple times that I don't think Inferno farming on 2x weekends is all that necessary, especially if you have a much faster, more consistent team on like Health 4. You should just farm that. The last 2x, that's what I did. I do have better teams this time around, better gear, so I can farm Inferno in a shorter clip time. So I'll be doing that, but yeah, there's literally no shame in farming Health 4. So, yeah, this is the SR only team, which I was pretty impressed with. So I was happy to find the build and show it to you. Now, let's show a faster, safer team. So this is where we've subbed in the Chloros, subbed in the Mia, and subbed in the Holden. So we essentially just replaced the healer with a better healer because she does cooldown reduction. She also reduces uh, the debuffs that the boss puts up. And then we got Holden in there not only for the strip, but also for the counterattacks and the multiple hitters because Chloros has that doom toll and he wants to count that down as much as he possibly can. So the more characters you have in there that do those multi hits, the more he's going to proc his doom toll. And after this runs over, we'll go through the gear and all those things. But you have to realize when you're getting into more consistent clear teams, your gear threshold is going to be higher. Your stat threshold is going to be higher. So if you can't achieve these, you need to be trying to achieve the SR only, maybe have a 40%, 50% win rate until you start being able to farm things more consistently, get some better gear, and then over time, you're going to have those consistent teams that are fast. And then you're going to be getting a bunch of gear, and your gear quality is going to just exponentially grow. It's going to be a really slow slog at the beginning, and then eventually it's going to tick up, and you're going to be like, oh, wow, how did I ever struggle on this stuff before? It may seem far away, but I promise it comes a little bit quicker than what you would imagine. So yeah, same concept. Kachi and Valerian keeping the team healthy, putting up the buffs until Chloros gets to max potential and he's cruising to a 133 mark. Very, very safe team. So the gear on these people, and again, this is also interchangeable, is right here. So the Chloros is in a count with Bulwark. Now, I got this from Rango Kutsu. This does not matter. The Fury Edge, the Fury Edge is whatever. You can build Chloros in something like Harvest and Onslaught, and that will be perfectly fine. The thing is it'll just be slower. But how consistent and safe that team is because of the Kachi and Valerian and the Mia, all of those things are what makes that work. So his skill 3 is fully leveled up, and It only matters to have the level 5 if you want to attack the left side head. So if you are using this team and your gear requirements are close, maybe your Chloros doesn't have the count with the Fury Edge, and you're just not killing the boss quick enough, attack that left side head first. And that's where Chloros' skill 3 comes into play. That's why I skilled it up originally, because I was using Chloros to beat this boss while my gear quality was lower. I would go after this left side head, and then I would eventually start and try and transferring that Doom Toll over here. In all honesty, it doesn't even matter. I think sometimes it even didn't transfer to that side. So he needed to use his skill 3 again. So all you have to do is skill this up to the 4th level, in my opinion, because this is where all of his damage is. Um, and I do have 3 of 5 here. These things matter. So he's getting the additional attack percentage and HP and defense along with crit rate. So it makes it easier for me to build him. And remember, he only needs 85% crit rate here. The Valerian and the Kachi have the same exact gear as the first team. The Holden is on Amber. This is more so for PvP. But yeah, that's what I'm running. I also didn't show the counts substats, the sub rolls. So he's got a good roll in the attack, crit rate, and then the final damage. Remember, I talked about how shells, you just need to overfarm them, and then you need to start rolling for the right passives. It's how you break into these things. But once you have it, then you can interchange and use them wherever. So this is the Holden. His skill 3 is at least leveled up to here. Again, I don't think you really need that. You don't need to build him with like high defense. Like I just went really high defense because I want him as a bruiser in PvP. But he can serve as the same thing as what Mizuki did, where you just build him with a lot of effect accuracy and speed, and he's just in there to dispel. But he also has the added benefit of the counterattacks for higher count points to pair with Chloros. But if you're using like a Yelly or a Didding, you don't need you to use Holden. You can use the Mizuki in this case too. He does have the turn meter pushback, which is nice, but it is even reduced on this boss. And then he also has the the defense down if you fully skill this up. I think he's a worthy investment. He's really good in a lot of places, but if you don't have it, again, treat him as the Mizuki with no lattices in him, just very high speed and high effect accuracy. And then the Mia, her skill 3 is fully leveled up. She is absolutely amazing. I love this character. This skill is awesome. I'm also using Halloween on her. You do not need the Evil Guard. I don't even have it down here on her gear. But she is rocking Swift Rush Time Weave. This is such an important combination, the 12-12 combination, to help her cycle back around to her skill 3, to allow for the heals, the duration shortage, and then also reducing the skill cooldowns on the Artisan, on Kachi, and the skill cooldown on Valerian, which is really key for her to get up her Hazy Dream as a failsafe. But the Kachi, the guard, immunity, defense up, all of those things are really important too. All right. Last but not least is the Speed team. So the Speed team is Heinrich, Klaus, Yelly, Valerian, and Lily. I know this is very, very like specific, but when you're trying to just speed clear things, it's going to be specific. I will say that you do have some instances that you can interchange. Like I think the Yelly can be replaced by the by Didding, and it certainly gets the job done. The Kloss and the Heinrich are both on Codex. Kloss doesn't have any lattices, and she just cares about the Swift Rush, and she's got a little bit of Time Weave in there for the effect accuracy, but she's not getting the bonus. She does have some speed on there because she does need to go before the Yelly, before Lily boosts Yelly. Yelly does have one copy in her, so she does have some additional attack, but her skill 3 and skill 2 are fully leveled, and then her skill 1 is up to the 240% before the buff steal. She is on Revelation with crit damage, a good attack percentage roll, and a max roll for the light element. And she is rocking Onslaught, Momentum, Fury Edge. Revelation can be farmed in Shadowflame Hoyon, which can be done with SRs. People like Obel and Fangus. I have a video on my channel showcasing that. So if you want to go check that out, you can. And she's rocking, attack, attack, and then some crit damage. Um, this is getting me right to that 70% crit rate. Heinrich does have a little bit of lattices in him. He has the block duration up for 2 turns. This is for PvP, not really needed. So he works fine without any lattices, but he is on Codex because he does need to keep the block up. You don't want the boss to get defense up, so you need him to strip and put the block up. Lily is in Artisan. She can literally be in anything, but her skill 1 does need to be maxed because you do want the full assist. Her skill 2 isn't maxed either. This kind of helps with the speed tuning because if you're boosting the turn meter by 30%, sometimes it's hard to get your Kloss in front of the Yelly. And the Valerian you've already seen. So yeah, so that clip is right. Where is it? It is right here. Terromaton. Sorry, it moved stuff away from me. Here you go. Terromaton Speed. So you Lily boost. You have Heinrich go before Kloss. Strips the immunity, puts up the last words, which is even more damage. Kloss puts up the defense down and the 2 stacks of the hacking progress. Yelly goes. She has only 2 follow-ups. Here, even if the Kloss would have got 1 shot, the Valerian would have broke out of her proc and then put up the Hazy Dream again anyway. Here, we're resetting the skill cooldown on the Yelly. Heinrich goes again. Kloss goes again, just in case she would have missed the first time. Here, the Yelly puts up some pretty big damage. 1 follow-up attack still. But then we start getting some follow-up attacks with herself. The Heinrich ends up finishing off the other character. And there you go. 2 follow-up attacks and it's done. Less than a minute. These teams, they're like not 100% because there are times where Kloss misses the defense down and things like that. So that is a thing. All right. Now, moving on to Doki Doki. And hopefully I remember to put timestamps in here. Now, the first team is full SSRs, and it's using Kazuyo the Reverie as your main DPS. Wrong team. So here we're using Obel as our crowd control hero with some decent speed and effect accuracy. He does have his skill 3 and everything else close to max. That's mainly for PvP. But he's on Halloween Swift Rush Time Weave because you want to keep looping back around to the skill 3 to have that stun up. The dots also take a little bit of damage off of the enemies, but Kazuyo is your main damage dealer in Revelation. So we got some speed there, final damage, and attack percentage. She is in like a damage scaling set just for some additional damage because I was able to eke out 122% effect accuracy, which is nice because even if the Obel dies, she does have a chance to sleep people and remove the damage reduction. So she's our main DPS. You've seen the Kachi and the Valerian. You've also seen the Sonya build. This was on Terromaton. And then the Obel on Halloween just has the Shadow Dash. Everything else is kind of irrelevant. So yeah, this team is slow. It is slow, and it's actually somewhat safe because the Sonya is able to revive somebody. Now, what ends up happening on the Inferno stages of Doki Doki is they destroy your max HP, right? So your heals don't matter as much. But whenever one of your characters die and Sonya revives them, all of the HP that was destroyed gets reset. So that's actually really nice. Okay, so the Doki Doki SR only team. Here you go. Now, I will skip ahead because it's a longer, clear video. and this video is already pretty long, but I want to explain, how this whole team works. So, very simple mechanics with the Obel putting up the control, and then every time, every 3 turns that the Casio gets a turn, the Revelation is proccing, and her multi hitter is just mowing down um, these enemies. Now, the problem is when she's on Revelation, you have a much longer cooldown rate of the Revelation coming back around. Now, I built her in damage. What you can certainly do is ignore all of the matrices on Revelation and then just build her in a 12-piece time weave set. Like that can be a thing, and you just play the reduction game because all of your damage is basically coming from Revelation. Literally all of it. So every 3 turns, she's going to knock down a good chunk of people's HP. The 3 turns will go by again, and then she'll knock it down some more. Like here's Revelation proccing again. Okay. One more Revelation proc and they're dead. So we got to wait another 3 turns. But in the meantime, Kachi and Valerian are keeping us healthy with plenty of shields, defense down, and immunity. The Sonya is cycling through, giving people more HP, healing, and then dispelling any of the debuffs. So it's the same thing over and over. We'll jump to the next wave. Here's Revelation proccing and taking out wave 1. Now, wave 2, like this can certainly get dicey. And from an SR only team, again, you need to kind of just expect that this will not be anywhere near 100%. It might be 70%. It might be 40%. Who knows? But at least you can clear it with just SRs and SRs that have plenty of overlap. I've shown Kachi and Valerian in tons of teams already. Sonya's used in tons of teams. She's also used in tons of shell teams. She's used in ton of Anti-Sync Echo, Ember Trek. Like, these are heroes worth investing in putting your lattices into. But this is literally the same thing where we are just trying to survive, keeping the Casio around to whenever the Revelation procs. You're keeping everyone stunned, reducing that damage reduction buff that they have on themselves, and you are just whittling away at the enemies. Now, there's even a time here where Obel ends up dying, even though he hangs on for a good bit. But he will end up dying, and then the Sonya ends up reviving him. And I just want to show you that whenever he dies and she revives, all of his destroy max HP ends up being basically reset. So it's on this turn. So there you go. So if they end up killing like the Casio or something like that, just rest assured that even if she does die, the Sonya can pick her right back up, and she will eventually, hopefully, sleep the boss, and then get in that, last Revelation proc to seal the deal. But this is a long run. It's like 4 minutes long, 5 minutes long, maybe. But it's certainly achievable. That's what I was saying. Like, I made a video the other day of Doki, and they were just like, I don't have any of the damage dealers. What can I do? And it's just like, just run Casio and Revelation. It's really that simple. It's going to take a long time, but you can do it. So this is like the quote unquote safe team. I wouldn't say this team is like super safe, but I already had the Casio built and stuff like that. What you can do is you can throw the Casio, the Reverie's gear into the same gear that Obel's running. So you just turn her into a crowd control hero, Halloween, Swift Rush, Time Weave, where she's just always pushing people back and putting attack down and speed and sleep, removing the damage reduction. And then the Shiata is your main damage dealer with the Revelation. So the Valerian and the Kachi, they add tons of buffs to Shiata. Amazing here. If you don't have Shiata and you have Yeli, Yeli works perfectly fine. Rosa also works perfectly fine in this spot. And again, if you don't have those characters, run your Casio on the Revelation. That is it. Until you have the necessary SSRs built up to get a little bit of a faster run, that's what you need to do. So same builds for all of those characters, except the Shiata is now in the Revelation set. she is an additional character for you to deal some damage, make the run go a little bit faster. But if you wanted it to be much safer than what this is, you would take the Kazuyo off the Revelation, put her on the Halloween set, and then sub in the Ling Luo here. You can also bring cooldown reduction characters like Tsukiyomi. Tsukiyomi is great because she resets the skill cooldowns on the Revelation as well. And since Shiada and Kazuyo will eventually be at the same reset point of the Revelation procking, it's just always going to go off at the same time. Instead of every 3 turns, it's essentially like every 2. So yeah, that's this team. And let's show you the run here. Doki Doki mid team. Here, same concept, just a lot of bulk. You're going to use your Obel to put up the stuns. You have your Kazuyo as your backup crowd control hero if Obel eventually dies or not. So then your Shiada can also just do a lot of revelation damage. So there's turn 1. The nice thing about this one is the Shiada does solid damage even without revelation because she's built that way, whereas the Kazuyo does not have very high DPS stats. So all of her damage just comes from revelation. So we get through the first wave pretty quick here. That's 1 minute, where the other one was probably closer to 3. This wave, see, we got 2 sleeps there, even though the Kazuyo isn't built for like effect accuracy. So that's pretty nice. Here, our Obel almost dies, but again, that's why we're using the Kazuyo the Reverie, because she does have the potential to still sleep people. So there, the Obel got off some stuns, and that's really all we needed from him. So if he ends up dying here, it really doesn't matter because we're close to just being down to the 1 enemy. And once you're down to the 1 enemy and you have the Shiada along with the Kazuyo and the Valerian as the backup, you also have the Kachi with the Artisan Shell as additional just kind of insurance per se. This is a pretty safe team. So down goes Obel. Here's the Revelation proc from the Kazuyo. So she gives some pretty good chip damage there. The Shiada does not have her Revelation proc up, but doesn't matter because the boss is basically dead. And then the Kachi finishes him. So 2 minutes and 20 seconds. Again, if you want it even safer, you just sub in the Ling Luo instead of the Obel, and you switch the Kazuyo to the Halloween. Now, this is the speed clearing team, which I've shown before. So I'm not going to show it again, actually. Same exact team as I have in a whole separate video that gives a much longer breakdown. But this video is already almost 30 minutes long. So I will get out of here. This is where you switch in Klaus, Kazuyo into like a codex. So they have their reset on the second wave. You're basically one-shotting both waves. And you're utilizing Romoka. But that one's very specific because you need the Romoka. Last but not least, Aurora. So when it comes to Aurora, the SR only team. Oh boy. Okay, I did not save. I did not save the fast team, but I think it's just this. Dang it. Okay. You're going to have to just trust me on the fast team. Sorry. This is the SR only team, though, with Ling Luo. So Ling Luo I have on Fortissimo. If you have Supernova, I think it's a better shell, but the Supernova that I have is for PvP, and I did not want to imprint over it, so I just have Chiaki running on it. But I've got a high HP roll, speed, and then reduce final damage, and then Wellspring Cure. This is huge. You really need Cure for this dungeon. You need the additional healing to break the Curse Shield. And if you're only using one healer, I even say that like one healer sometimes isn't enough. I personally don't know how people make it work. I've always run double healer and it's been consistent and safe. Um, so yeah, that's what I'm using is Ling Luo. And her skill 1 is fully maxed for the Whale Prayer for 2 turns and the chance to purify. The amount of Whale Prayers that you put up is pretty substantial, and the Whale Prayers, after enough time, end up breaking the shield. You have Red Chiaki in here for the additional healing. She also puts up a really solid unique buff in the Origami Guardian, which is damage reduction. She has single target heals with more stacks of origami, and then the same thing on her skill 1, just additional stacks. Viper's in here for the strip. Bidding is your main DPS. He's in the traditional White Fang Fury Edge. Skills basically maxed except the vulnerable, which can matter. There are times where he puts this up, and you could certainly do more damage the next turn when you rotate back around to him. So it kind of makes sense to level that up if you wanted to. But I just haven't taken the time to do it because I can do things without it. So he's in crit rate, attack percentage, and then attack percentage. The Ling Luo is in all HP, and Oh, that's effect res actually. The Chiaki is all HP. She has a good speed roll on her supernova, and then it's just the flat HP roll here. The Ling Luo is on the artisan from the Kachi the Guard, which is the defense and speed. He also has some synergy, not that that matters, on the final passive. And then we have Kazami Kazuyo. Love this character. She does a cooldown reduction and also the 3-turn speed. So you got to keep up with the boss here. To make sure that your Viper is constantly stripping, to make sure that your Ditting actually has enough time to do some damage before the Curse Shield pops back up. But yeah, so here it's just the speed roll. This is the same shell that you've seen like on Obel or on the Kazami Kazuyo. The Mizuki? I think it was on Mizuki. No, Mizuki was holding Codex. Someone else was running it. All right, let's roll the clip. Let's see here. Aurora Ling Luo. So the whole purpose of this, and it is key here. Let me talk about this real quick. So the turn order here is kind of important. The Viper going first, I will say that itself is not super necessary, but having him go before this first ad is, because you want him to be able to put attack down and speed down on everybody, but more so this ad, because that ad hits you. The first ad puts up the immunity and stuff on the boss. So the strip here is nice, but you could have the strip, the strip's not what's important. It's the attack down on this ad that's important. And then you want the Kazami to actually be behind the Chiaki and the Ling, because they're both going to use their big heals, and you want the Kazami to reduce the skill cooldown on their heals. It's also reducing the skill cooldown on their shells. So that's also pretty important. So those are the two things that certainly matter. Is the speed tuning on the Viper to go before that side ad who does the damage right there, and to have the Kazami go behind the Chiaki and the Ling Luo, because then the cooldown reduction on the Ling and the Chiaki heals is where it's at. So all of your damage is just coming from the Ditting. You have to make sure that you can break the Curse Shield, though, or he's not going to do any damage. So it's kind of the same thing. You're just surviving. You're trying to get enough heals from the Chiaki and the Ling Luo, cycling back around with the Kazami Kazuyo, having some of the Artisan shield up, every once in a while to save some of your allies is good because there are times where the boss will do 2 attacks in a row. Uh, Again, like these kind of runs, they're not going to be 100% because there's going to be times where Viper might not strip. And if he doesn't strip and put the attack up and the boss takes 2 attacks, you might wipe, right? But these are all SR characters plus a free SSR character. So, what are you expecting, right? So it's kind of more of the same thing. We're just looping back around. There's a lot of times where that Fortissimo will save your butt too. So that's kind of an important thing. But the origami stuff from Chiaki, like you can't underestimate that. So as long as Didding has his skill 3, procking after the cursed shield is broken, where he's getting off enough attacks because you're reducing the skill cooldown with the Kazami, you're going to be able to clear this. Now, again, there's a lot of things that are very reliant here. You're depending on Viper stripping, you're depending on the Halloween procking, and you're also depending on the time we've set procking on the Kazami. And if those don't happen at the right time, there's going to be a wipe. But if you need a starter team, I think this is a pretty good one. I would think that its win rate is above 50%, but without like a whole lot of data, I'm just throwing around statistics there, right? I got nothing to back that up. So, anyway, that's basically the run. We stay fairly healthy for most of it. There's definitely times that I've skipped over here where the boss got double attack and maybe the Didding was pretty close to dying, but the Fortissimo came in clutch or the Whale Prayers came in clutch or, a right timed heal by the Chiaki was what you needed. So, yeah, I'm pretty sure I showed everyone and what they were running, but these are their total stats if you guys just want to take screenshots or pause the video while we're going through this. And then we'll move on to the next team. So the next team is the safe team. This is the safest team I've got. I think in all of Etheria Restart. Like this is 100% for me. I have not seen this fail like ever. So we're running Mia on the Halloween Time Weave, same set as the Terramaton. Just looping back around to this. This heal is huge. It's awesome. Paired with the Ling Luo and the Fortissimo, it's just kind of like GG's. You have the Yeli and Revelation. You got the Tsukiyomi just running fast, but boosting up the Yeli to get multiple attacks, reducing skill cooldown with the Mia. So you're looping back around to like Ling Luo's big heals. You're looping back around to the strip of Viper. You're procking Revelation a whole lot quicker. It's awesome. Plenty of substitutes here. If you don't have Yeli, you can certainly bring in the Didding. You can bring in Shiata. You can even bring in Chloros. Like Chloros is a viable option here too. So plenty of things that you can use. So this team, I'm just going to show the final stats. It shows where people are latticed and all of those things. The Ling you've seen, the Viper. This one's in Gigabyte. Again, like this can be in Artisan. It doesn't need to be in the Gigabyte. Halloween. And then the Yeli also doesn't need to be in the White Fang. She can be in an Artisan as well. So yeah. So this run is right here. And sadly, I do not have the speed team for Aurora saved. I thought I did, but I didn't. I'm sorry. All right. Yeah. So here I have the Tsukiyomi going first. In all honesty, it'd be best to put her behind the Ling Luo and the Mia because then the heal or the curse shield is broken on the Yeli before I boost her up to the front. So she's doing more damage. So this could be a way faster run and still be very consistent. So the heal from the Mia usually breaks the shield, and then the Ling Luo just ends up getting you a huge heal with the Whale Prayers up. And once you're at that point, this is like an extremely safe run. So now because the Mia had the skill cooldown reduction. It's pretty nice. On the Yelly and the Tsukiyomi, when she looped back around to her turn, she used her skill 2, which also reduced it. So Yelly has back-to-back revelation procs, which is really nice. So by her third turn, depending on how many, extra attacks you have or something, the boss is close to half dead. And this is like the same thing over and over, just repeat attacks, healing, breaking through the curse shield, uh, reducing skill cooldowns on the revelation and the Yelly to just do like really big damage. So like my health and the immunity, like all of this stuff is just up all the time. And the boss does less damage the more multi hits you have. So the Yelly here is like perfect. Same thing with the Chloros. Just all of the follow up attacks, reducing the attack damage bar. This little 15 counter up here is how you reduce the boss's damage. So final revelation proc, and we're done. So 2 minutes, pretty nice run. Now the speed team, I only have the video, but I can walk you through it. So you're not using Ling Luo here. All you're doing is using Mia on Codex. So Mia has a big enough heal on her skill 3 to break the shield on everyone except herself. You have the Viper and Artisan, and you want him behind the Mia. The reason why that's important is because Mia uses her skill 3, which reduces the skill cooldowns of everyone. So Artisan shield procs right away. Very, very nice. The Viper strips, the Tsukiyomi then boosts the Yelly. The Yelly needs to put up the defense down. There's a lot of things working against this speed team, but if someone wants to do it fast just to get like the 3 stars or something like that, and then transition back to the safe team, that's what I would kind of recommend, because I don't think the clear rate on this is that great. It just requires too many things. So here's the Codex, big heal from the Mia. She ends up removing that curse shield from everyone except herself. Here, the Tsukiyomi also is an artisan. She puts it up on the Yelly and on the Didding. Here, the Yelly goes. Revelation proc. If she puts up the defense down, that allows the Didding to do a lot of damage, where if she doesn't put the defense down, it's usually not enough damage. So here is just another big heal, because we're reducing the skill cooldown again to reset both the Didding S3 and the Yelly S3. So the Revelation proc again. Yelly damage, we got 2 bonus attacks, which is really nice, which is essentially enough for the Didding to do enough damage for us to take out the boss. So about a minute run. And yeah, so guys, that's all of the teams. We got the freest to play options that I could find for you. A really safe, good mixed team, and then some speed runs on all these individual dungeons. So I hope you appreciated it. I hope you're excited for the 2X, and I'll catch you on the next one. See ya.